Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Rome. I know a lot of you guys are new to Photoshop and you've just subscribed and you're really starting to experiment. And I can see, from the comments on some of the videos that I'm posting in social media that you're feeling your way around. So I wanted to do a really quick video to show you some of the new features that are built into Photoshop that don't really require you to have any special plugins or any of the other things that you may have seen me do in the previous videos. So here's a photo that I downloaded from, I believe it was Unsplash. No, I believe it might have been Pixels. But anyway, this is a black and white image of this gentleman here. And for this effect to work, one thing you have to make sure of is that you are in RGB mode, not grayscale, for black and whites. And it could be 8-bit or 16-bit or even as high as 32-bit, it doesn't really matter. But here's a really cool feature that is built into Photoshop that you guys may want to play with. So if you go to your filters and you click on neutral filter, now you have to be online for this to work. But as you see, it's already identified his face here. But this is a black and white image. So what can we do with it? Well, let's imagine you have some black and white images that you want to colorize. Okay, so we're going to click on Colorize. And then it's going to do its thing. Let's turn it on. And look at that. It added color. Pretty cool. Now, it's not perfect. I mean, you can still go in and make some adjustments, for noise or, color. I believe that you can add some profiles. So like say, for instance, here, if you wanted to do something like maybe a retro high contrast, it would add that. It takes a few seconds. Now that's a little way over the top, but you kind of get the idea, right? So let's go back. Now it looks like it missed a couple of areas up in here. And I don't see anything that allows you to control the mask. So, but hey, you know what? It's worth it. Something just to play with or to experiment with. So, this is going to be like a really tight-end headshot. I could see how this could work, so let's just say okay to this. And then if you were going to say, for instance, this is someone's headshot, because you can see here he's got a color and he doesn't have color here. We zoom in, there's no color on the neck. But you could always, clone that in if you had to. Well, let's just say, for instance, you wanted to make this a really tight headshot. You could just really just get in there and say, okay, I don't know when you would actually do a headshot this tight. I'm just using this as an example, but you kind of get the idea, right? So maybe that's the effect that you're going for. All right, so let's look at another image really quick. And we don't want to crop this. So here's just a general image. One of the things that I know that you have to do to make this work properly is that you have to have a second layer for it to work the way I'm going to show you how to use this. Because there's another way to get to these quick actions that require a whole bunch of steps, going to help and searching and all that other stuff. But there's a much easier way to get there. So Command J is going to duplicate your layer. Then you want to go over to your properties. And if you scroll down here, you see under quick actions, you have two things that are already here. So you have remove background and select subject. So let's just test out. We're going to see what works. Select subject. So we'll run that. It looks like it did a really good job selecting the subject. Let's zoom in here. There's some things that could be, cleaned up around the hair or something like that. But, it gets you in the ballpark, to get started, right? So if this wasn't here, let's just do remove background. And let's remove that one. it did a good job as far as making the selection. It's not perfect, but again, like I said, this is just a starting point. So we're going to go back, Command Z, and you see right here where it says View More. If you click on that, this will give you some other quick actions that Photoshop provides you with. And you can also go down here and explore other filters, just by clicking here, it'll take you to the website, I believe. But let's just say, for instance, we wanted to make the background black and white. You remember back in the day when everybody thought it was really cool to have those selective color photos and people were still doing those? Well, it is what it is. But let's just play with that real quick. We're going to click Apply and see what we get. Ah, it said it couldn't do it. Well, that's not good. Should we try it again? Okay, let's try it again. Nope, could not apply action. Oh well, okay. So let's move on to the next thing. So here's one for blurring the background. And let's click on that one. Give it a second. Now, that one worked. And if you zoom in here, so if we zoom in to this image, you can see that the background has been blurred. So if we close that layer, it's not great, but it's not bad. So if you're doing like portraits or, client portraits or something like that, and you wanted to give it that, dreamy look, where the background is really out of focus, saying that, you shot at 1.4, 1.8 or something like that, but you didn't have a 1.4, 1.8 lens, but you wanted that effect, you could do this. So, then you always have the ability to revert. So you could always go right back to where it was, right? So let's look at one or two more. What do we have here? Ooh, here's one for smoothing skin. I don't know how well that's going to work, but let's zoom in and see. So we're going to run this action. Hit apply. Okay. I don't know how well this is going to translate to YouTube, but I definitely see a difference. It softened the skin. I mean, it's not perfect by no means, but what I don't like is you lose a lot of the detail in the fine lines and things like that. But being this is a layer, you could always mask this in. And, because it is a smart filter, you could always go in and make some adjustments here if needed, so just one more thing to play with. So let's go back and see what else we can do here. All right, so let's look at another filter. Here's one some people might like. But let's just do something really simple that we will most likely use, right? So let's add a vignette. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, let's go back. That filter, let's just delete that. And just so we have it, again, Command J, create a separate layer. And then we're going to add the vignette. Where is that one? There it is. Just do the apply. And it does a simple vignette. So again, like I said, guys, this is just something that could possibly speed up your workflow a little bit. I'm not going to say that all of these are perfect because a lot of these are experimental. I remember when none of these were actually even available. They just had the link, like coming soon or something like that. So, again, like I said, you can go through and play with these. You have your halftone patterns, you have your note paper. Let's see what that'll do. Yeah, I could see using something like that for maybe, you know, Instagram or Facebook or something like that, if that's something that you guys are into, or maybe even your client might be into or something like that. And, you know, give it a shot. So, but let's click down here real quick. And you can see some of the other effects that are here. So you have one for blur. Let's turn that on. And you can adjust the amount of blur, you know, the blur strength, the focal range. And you have to give it a second, you know, because it does do a lot of this stuff in the cloud, but you kind of get the idea. So, yeah, we got to give it a couple of minutes. Yeah, that's a lot, but, you know, I wouldn't use that, but I'm just saying it's there. So, how do we get to this panel? Let's start off again really simple. The quickest way to get to the panel that I found is to just duplicate your layer, Command J, then go over to your properties, and then down here under quick actions, you can click on view more, and there are your actions. You know, so you can just kind of play with those and see how it works. Now I'm going to remove this layer really quick. And I'm going to again run that background removal just on that layer, just to see what will happen. So like I said, again, it got pretty close, but I mean, you can see there's a lot of things that it missed. So, you know, there's many, many other ways to remove the background, you know, but this kind of gives you an idea, because here's your layer, and you can see what it's selecting and what it's omitting, you know, so on and so on. So, I mean, you could go in and paint this in. So let's say like you take your soft brush and you paint it in white. You know, you could go in there and just, you know, clean this up a little bit. I'm just doing this for fun, but you guys get the idea. You know, you can come around the hair a little bit. I'm just doing this really quick, just so you'll see a difference. All right. Then you option click on that again. And you can see it made a little bit of a difference, you know, but again, I don't know how often I would use something like that myself personally, but they are there. So, you know, a big part of what we do in photography and creative, you know, as we are, is that we, you know, experiment a lot, you know, and we're playing around a lot to see what works for us and what doesn't. So, you know, spend some time, you know, experiment, visit the Adobe site, and there's a ton of tutorials on there, you know, to help you guys get started. I mean, you know, there's a ton of them on YouTube and, you know, everywhere else you can think of. So all I can say is, you know, spend a little time, at least, you know, an hour a day, you know, something like that, you know, just experimenting to see what can work for you. And eventually you will find something that really, really, you know, becomes a part of your, you know, everyday workflow. All right, guys. This has been Ron Wilkerson. I'm going to cut this video short. Remember to stay safe. Take care of yourself. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do so. Like and comment. And I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace. I'm out.